Appreciate everybody watching.
Watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through fourth and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back. Oh, I got two black screens beside me, bro. Welcome back to another episode of the Trap or Dive Podcast. I'm your host of the Trap or Dive Podcast, Mual. Dre and AJ is in here. But before we get to the fellas, man, appreciate everybody who's happening live. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We definitely appreciate that. We can get the 4K. We could probably get the 4K before the season starts. The YouTube looking pretty good right now. It's a little slow burn once again, but at the same time, grateful for everybody who be tapping in. But I think we can get the 4K before the season starts. So if you listen to this and you new, or if you're a returning watcher but haven't subscribed yet, hit the button. Audio side, Apple Podcast, Spotify, hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button, rate and review if you can. It's free to do so, and it takes 10 seconds to show you support that way. So we definitely appreciate that. Fellas, how y'all feeling, bro?
Hey, I'm here, man. I'm just ready for the season.
I'm here.
It's a battle, Mual. It's a battle. Every day is a battle, man.
It's a grind, bro. You know, we about to word on the street. I ain't saying word on the street. We going back to 4 days a week in like a month or two. So they slowly taking away my freedom, bro.
Oh man, hey, welcome to my world.
I know. I'm complaining, but I know. Like everybody's agency is already they ahead of us. Y'all dealing with it. What's going on, AJ?
Cooling, man. Yeah, Dre thinking about the beginning of the season. I don't even think I've been thinking about that. I'm just more so it's so much happening at one damn time. It's so fascinating. It's like the draft, stadium, NFL draft 2027. Like,
so that doesn't make you ready right now, AJ? Like that makes me ready. I'm gonna see Jaden Daniels again.
I'm not ready for the season yet because I don't think
you tripping. I'm ready.
I don't think this roster is ready to begin the season yet. I think there's a couple more tweaks that need to happen.
Well, first off, you mentioned the stadium. We can breeze by for a second, but I can't not talk about it. I can't wait. I said the stadium, my bad, the draft. Sorry. The draft. I can't wait for the draft to get here, bro. Like, I don't think I'm going to be there in the crowd. I have no intention on ever being at the crowd and being in that environment. Too many people. I don't trust that. But that weekend. Yeah. That weekend, man. Yeah. Well, I wonder what Park gonna look like that day, that Saturday or that Friday. You know,
it's gonna be a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening. Just hope that the weather holds up. But it's definitely gonna be a monumental a week for sure because there's a lot of things that happens before the actual draft. As far as like activations and events with corporate sponsors. Yeah, we definitely gonna be in the mix, Trap or Dive. You feel me? And it's gonna be a good time in DC when you can get upwards to 1 million people into your city that particular week over the spread of 3 days. Yeah, some amazing things can be had. Some amazing things can be seen with your eyes, unless you are Stevie Wonder. But
I think more to his point, it's gonna be the athletes that come here. You know, that's gonna be drawing the attention at the clubs. You know what I mean? You talking about what kind of parties they throwing. So it's gonna be like how a homecoming for the older crowd.
let them peacock. They gonna bring them. They don't flop. I'm about to be right there in the cut.
It's definitely gonna be like Howard homecoming meets like inauguration meets.
It's gonna be insane, bro.
Meets a lot of different things because people of all walks of life, man. And it's cultures. A good time. That's around spring break time for some families.
When is this draft? April, mid-April, maybe.
Yeah, usually late April.
Oh, late April. I'm tripping. Yeah.
College is ending. like graduations is happening around that time too. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be a great experience for sure. So yeah, so I mean, Dre, to answer your question, am I ready for football? It would be nice to have football going on right now, but man, it is May. We got to get the summer in. We got so much to do.
Oh yeah, nah, that part. You know what?
Well, yeah,
I don't know how I breeze out. Like I'm thinking about like just the actual sport itself, but yes,
that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah, nah.
I mean, the other stuff gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? The other stuff gonna happen regardless, though.
I need my summer, bro. I need to make sure this entire whatever's about to change with my professional career, I need to make sure I get everything out my system before things change.
yeah.
All right. So look, man. Let's kind of another thing that AJ brought up. We're gonna kind of how do they say that? Piecemeal it. Piecemeal this thing. He said that he don't think. Look, hey man, look, my diction, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know,
bro,
I got some good words,
I know this is the first episode of May, but what in the world type of word did you just use?
Piecemeal. You ain't never heard of piecemeal?
Hell no.
All right, well, look it up. I may actually use it wrong, but I think I use it right. But AJ mentioned he don't think the roster is where it needs to be right now. But part of my question, even going into this show, that I wanted to know, is actually in the title of the show. Is this Commanders post-draft roster, meaning as it stands right now, ready, playoff ready? But I thought about it too. Like, I want to rephrase this because I don't know what y'all answer is going to be. AJ kind of gave his hint already, but I wanted to phrase this in a way where we can put ourselves in the places of the actual team. Do we think that the Commanders think that their roster is playoff ready as is? Like, let's kind of go from there.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely believe that based off just the trades alone to acquire Lermy Tunsil and Deebo Samuel. You know, you're making those moves with anticipation of being able to get to that next step. They were one game away from playing in the Super Bowl, being in New Orleans, going against the Kansas City Chiefs. So you make these moves to put yourself in that same position, but this time not be on the losing end, but to be on the victorious side. So I think that they believe that they're in contention and ready to go. But from my standpoint, of course,
hold on. I know. I want to make sure.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna dive into that,
right.
but yeah, from my standpoint, I think that they can get back to where they were last year with the retooling, calibration, however you want to say it, with these new additions. If you can make it to the conference championship game with Olamide Zaccheaus at wide receiver, Diami Brown, you had no Noah Brown, you had, you know, some pass rush that was lacking, whatever. You also had left tackle Brandon Coleman. You had Andrew Wally playing right tackle. Now you tell me you add Deebo Samuel, one of the more dynamic players in the NFL, with the ball in his hands. You also add a premier left tackle in Lermy Tunsil, along with the other moves and draft pick additions. You damn sure should be able to get right back to where you were, but this time, like I said, be on the victorious side.
Yeah, I mean, I think they definitely think that they are in position to, you know, be a playoff roster. I mean, by default, you know, you did what you did last year. Obviously, the goal is to get better. When you look at the roster, they didn't get worse. Like, they added pieces, and just the way they approached this offseason, they went out there and approached the offseason like a contender would approach the offseason, which no one thought this is where we would be going into this upcoming season. If you look back a year ago, like, you know, you would probably just be thinking this offseason is just about, you know, kind of building on what you just did. But now you had the season you did. Everything's accelerated, and when you go out there, you make the trade for a Lermy Tunsil, you make the trade for the Deebo Samuel. It says, hey, I'm moving like a contender at this point because I know what I have at the quarterback position, and I know what we did last year. Now we have to build up some really weak parts. Now, you know, to some fans' point, you may say, well, they didn't go out and get the edge rusher that they needed, but say if they went out and got the edge rusher they needed, they may have missed out on something else they already have. So no, I definitely think that they believe that they are, you know, playoff ready. I mean, in the goal, you know, we're going to get into it later, but, you know, getting closer to that Eagles. How close have you closed that gap? But no, I mean, just like I said, the moves they made. Looking at the draft, you only had 5 picks in the draft. Now, if you're a team that's thinking, man, I got to go out here just pretty much address needs, then I'm going to try to accumulate more draft picks. But they didn't do that. They stood pat with the guys they liked with their 5 draft picks. At every pick, and they picked at each spot that they were slated to pick at, meaning that, hey man, we like our roster right now. We don't need to just accumulate a bunch of guys. We want to accumulate the right guys to kind of keep on building on what we already have. So yeah, I mean, I think that you've come out of this offseason better than you entered the offseason, and that's the biggest question. I mean, I think as far as the other stuff goes, like the outside factors, the schedule is going to be harder next year, so you may not get to that win total next year, but I definitely think you're looking at a playoff roster as you see it right now.
To add to the conversation, like I think it's interesting from their perspective. Like last year, there was 2 positions in particular that they put out there that they was like, well, one for sure, but I think it was ultimately 2. That they for sure thought that internally they loved more than the public. The offensive line, and I think the receiver position. They never said the receiver position, but they definitely acknowledged the offensive line. And I think this year it is the same. To answer the question flat out, I think that Washington believes that their post-draft roster is playoff ready. And I think that this year their defensive line is something that they like internally. And honestly, I think that their running back group is the other position that I think that they like internally. What bothers me is that last year, those 2 positions that they loved or valued higher in the building ultimately let them down. Now the offensive line wasn't terrible, right? And that was actually good for more than half of the season. So I want to give that group credit and the job that Cliff did and Bobby Johnson did, right? But ultimately, they got overpowered by more dominant defensive lines. The receiving group, like, you wasn't really creating separation, and Terry was the only guy that you can really go to, like, on all 3 levels. Diami put on a mini show in the playoffs, but, like, nowhere in the regular season. Noah Brown here and there. But your receiving group was a problem. And so, like, when I think about what they felt internally last year, I think that that's a good thing for them to think, and I think that's a good thing for Washington moving forward. But I also asked the question in my head, like, that defensive line, bro, like, y'all, they look good, and I see the vision. Like, I did the film session on the 4 guys that they brought in. I see the vision, but, like, is it truly sustainable? And can we put these guys in the best position to win on every single down? Do we have the right pieces out there on a given down? And like, I don't really know that answer yet, and I don't think I'll have an answer. Like I said, I don't think I'll have an answer before the season starts. But thinking about what they valued internally compared to last year with the same thing, I just don't know if they're really like, if those positions are going to really hold them down like they would imagine. Because last year it was a painful, like a slow death on defense every single year. Every single week. And while that didn't have nothing to do with their strengths, or what they valued internally on the offensive side of the ball, it's like, if they were feeling this way about the defensive line right now, and it was a mess last year, the front 7 in the run game, like, my worst fear is that it's a long season all over again on that side of the football.
Well, let me ask y'all this, because there's a lot of eyes on the defense, and I think we've all seen the noticeable changes on the offensive side of the football. Do you all think that as the defense as a whole right now, is it a better defense on paper right now than it was last year.
Yes. You came into the season, bro. You came into the season last year with Manuel Forbes, Ben St. Juice, Sam Steele, Igbenogany, Mike Davis, even though he didn't play. But yeah, like that was your core in the secondary. And for like the first 3 weeks of the season, cooked. Like getting cooked. It was bad, bro. Like bombs away, bro. Like it was crazy. Miscommunications, coverage breakdowns, all of that stuff. And people just flat out losing. I think that the secondary got drastically better, specifically at cornerback. You got the right mix of veterans and younger guys in there. Trey Amos is a solid pick, right? Who knows where he's going to fit in immediately, but you got the right amount of depth. You got the right people in there, like I said, from a mixture standpoint. And like I like your linebacking core. Like we pointed out some of the flaws, but like overall, like I like your linebacking core. And I think the wild card is Will, your strong safety that you brought in to replace Jeremy Chin, and then the total influx and turnover at the defensive line position. Like those are your biggest question marks. Again, I see the vision on the defensive line, but like it's so many new people, you can't really like foreshadow like exactly how it's going to play out in the front seven. But I do think that they've gotten better, like from a name and a piece standpoint and a fit standpoint. I think they've gotten better. But the question is like, what's drastic? And I'm gonna pause there because that part of the conversation that you asked, I want to add another question to it, but I'm gonna pause there so y'all can get y'all question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better as far as like depth pieces. As far as like, let's take the front four. You now have created a solid enough rotation to play the run, like setting the edge and different stuff. We also got to start talking about Johnny Newton a little bit more because this is his opportunity to go through a full offseason in comparison to rehabbing. So if he is who believe him to be coming out of the draft last year before Washington even picked him, he could be a difference maker interior-wise. And he could even play on the end. Honestly, he's fast enough to get off the ball to play some of that edge position, just how Payne did in the defense. On the back end side, you got more veterans, and when I say that, meaning like Jonathan Jones has done it in the league for some time at outside corner, slot corner. You now have Noah Igbenogany, another year within the system besides the year that he spent in Dallas with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. You now add in Marshawn Lattimore with having a full season under the tutelage of Joe Witt Jr. On the back end. Same thing with Quan Martin, the familiarity, just how we're going to look at it offensively with Cliff Kingsbury being back. Everyone that is remaining has that familiarity of what is expected of them, their role, and how they're going to play and how they fit within that. So they know how to practice and they know how to train for this offseason like a Luvu. Luvu can be more prepared for how he's going to be actually utilized versus, hey, this is where we're telling you going into free agency, this is what we're going to do or how the season goes. He now knows I'm going to play a little bit of edge. I'm going to blitz through the A gap. Like I'm also being covered sometimes, whatever the case is. So, yeah, from that standpoint, they're definitely better because you added more veterans to the mix, from a Ken Law to a Wise to a Jacob Martin. You added more veterans to go alongside the youth that you have in your front four. Now on the back, I mean, not the back end, but like your linebacker position, does Jordan McGee stay healthy? You know, he didn't get enough reps for us to even have an opinion on him. He was hurt. Dominique Hampton, same thing. Second year going into this program, this system, this culture. So I think that's where you can sit back and be like they're better from that standpoint because you want to have a good mix of veterans and also youth. And last year, you know, with Emmanuel, Ben, all of those things, they're adapting to a new coaching scheme and even the way that they've been coached unfortunately, under Ron Rivera and company. Like the coaching is night and day. So it takes a little bit of time to get used to as well.
Well, and I'm glad y'all answered the question. And I asked that question because I'm just wondering if this team is, we think this team got better on defense. It may not have gotten considerably better. It may not be as noticeable as the offense. But my point is, if you are better to the point that you are in the top half of the league in the defense, not top 10, but maybe you are in those top 16 teams with this offense that we seen last year, which we think has also gotten better this year. How much better, or what's the ceiling look like for this team if they can just play top 16 defense on that side of the football? Because that's, to me, that says we can get back to the conference championship game again with that offense. And if the defense is, better than what they were last year, we obviously want the top 10 defense. We want to get to that point at some point, but they saw the offense as a more pressing need to kind of address some of the more pressing issues for the team as it is. So you're making your strength even better, and you got a little bit better on the defensive side of the football to the point you can play consistent, top 16, top 18 football. Then I think this is an even scarier team than it was last year. Like, I don't think that I know that this is a scarier team than last year. So with that said, if that is the case, if they're playing that, top 16 to 18 football, then this is a team right now that is ready for whatever challenge that they're most likely facing. Now, obviously, it's going to be, some of those, it's not going to be a absolute that they're going to walk into the games against Philly or the Chiefs and, blow them out or anything. But I feel good about this team's chances if they're playing the level of defense that I think they could play at this year with the stronger offense that they have. Like, I feel good going into any game with this team with the roster as it stands.
Yeah, I think you just need two of your guys is getting paid big bucks defensively to play up to their pay. And that could be the game changer defensively, and that's Deron Payne and Marshawn Lattimore. If those two can actually get their shit together and play at an elite level, that changes everything. Because right now, you looking at it, you don't know if Marshawn's going to be healthy fully. You also don't know what's going to happen on the opposite side of him. But at the same token, you know that there's potential for him to be great there. That's why they made the trade, and they believe in him. With Deron Payne, if he can be a disruptor from an interior standpoint, that changes everything. Like, if he could truly be a disruptor that we've seen him do, changes the entire dynamic of the defense. So that's where it gets interesting.
Have they closed the gap? Well, to what level have they closed the gap with Philly? That's what I should say. Like, how close is it to y'all?
Is Philly? I don't know. I was thinking about it today because I was on my YouTube yesterday, and I think there was some channel. I didn't even watch the video, but they were speaking on the Rams have closed the gap on the Eagles. And in my perspective, just going back to that playoff matchup between the Rams and the Eagles, if it was a perfect sunny day or if it was no snow on the ground, Rams would have beat the Eagles in that playoff matchup. Like,
honestly, they should have, bro. That game pissed me off so much because they should have beat them in the snow.
They should have.
They was a sack away from a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. So I say all that to say, I don't think that the Eagles are
our Super Bowl bid, bro.
I don't think the Eagles are the measuring stick. Of course, they won a Super Bowl. Even Adam Peters got asked this question today on Pat McAfee. Your division foes. Definitely something that you compare yourself to. But at the end of the day, you're just trying to win games because you never know how things are going to play out. Like, injuries happen so much in football. Anything can happen. But how am I tripping? I exactly said that.
He probably just misheard you, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah. My bad. Caught my attention. But, yeah, it's just like I don't see the Eagles as a measuring stick. I just think that Washington just need to do what they need to do and improve in the areas that, cause them to get blown out in that playoff game, which was stopping the run and not having enough playmakers to truly step up besides Jaden Daniels. Like Jaden Daniels was the only person honestly keeping them in that game. Outside of that, wasn't nothing really happening.
So I agree with your overarching theme in that they need to get better at the positions that they struggled at, right? Like that ought to be their ultimate goal this offseason, despite who else is out there that are Super Bowl contenders in the NFC. But I think also Philly is probably one of the best constructed rosters in the NFL, if not the best. And the way that they plan things out has them ahead of the curve. I don't know how many off seasons, like if you had to give a guess, maybe like 2 off seasons ahead of the next team, maybe. Like that's how good I think they are in the off season. But I say that to say Washington can still close the gap if they make their moves, their best moves, right? And I think that they're like, to what level do I think they close the gap? I still think that I don't think that they've closed it. I don't think that they're neck and neck. But if I had to answer it a particular way, I like that they are investing into Jaden Daniels the right way. If we're going to be behind the 8 ball against any teams out there, right? Like if it may take us a while to get our defense together, let's make sure that our offense is like on day one of the best in the NFL without weaknesses or question marks. Like last year, no matter how comfortable they were with the offensive line and their scheme and how they got it together, because it worked out well, it wasn't good enough in terms of your best 5. Let's make sure that our offensive line is good to go for Jaden. Let's make sure if we're going to bring back Zach Ertz as our starter and we're going to lose X amount of receivers, like to free agency, let's make sure we bring back some of our priorities, but let's go get a playmaker in Debo who can really change the room. They were successful in getting the unanimous receiver prospect that they wanted in the draft. And when I say unanimous, Adam Peters had an interview today with the Pat McAfee show, and he said, when he was talking about some of the prospects, he said everybody who was involved, the decision makers or the people with the voices, I guess, everybody wanted Jalen Lane. So they got their unanimous guy in the 4th round to add to that receiving room. And then you got Terry, of course, and Noah Brown comes back. I'm not going like big up Luke McCaffrey. You got some work to do, buddy. But they got their receiving room together, and they got a running back in Merritt that they clearly like. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm not gonna big up Krosky Merritt either right now, because we're talking about a 7th round draft pick. We're talking about towards the tail end of the 7th round. No matter how good or how impressed I am with what I saw on his highlights, their offense is the strength of this team. And they know that because of Jaden, but they also took it a step further this offseason to invest in it even further to where they can be a top 5, no question offense, that they can go up against any defense and not like they're not going to go up against a Dallas defense or a Pittsburgh defense like they did last season, even though they moved the ball on Pittsburgh a little bit. But you get what I'm saying. Dallas, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia in the regular season, they're not going to go up against these teams and feel like they're behind the 8 ball. Like they got like their top dogs is going to be able to compete with other top dogs from any top tier defensive team in the NFL. And I think that's kind of what gives them a shot against Philly, no matter if this roster has closed the gap from just a head-to-head standpoint. I think that they're really good on that offensive side of the football. And I think that helps them and gives them a chance against any team that they go up against.
And I got to say, I do disagree with you a bit, AJ, when you said that you don't think that the Eagles are a measuring stick. And I do think they are the measuring stick for obvious reasons for the team, because their strengths highlighted Washington's biggest weaknesses in just about every game. I mean, that last game, when you look at the offense on that first drive, 16-17 play drive that resulted in 3 points, and every play was hard because we couldn't win at the line of scrimmage. So you got better at the line of scrimmage on offense. I mean, to the point where, like I said, going into this Eagles game, I feel confident that the offense won't have to work as hard to try to move the ball against the Eagles defense. Like the Eagles, yes, they have great players. They have great talent on defense, but Washington just made it seem so hard, even with the stud quarterback that they have out there. So the whole point was to make Jaden's life easier, to Jamal's point, and you did that when you went out there and you got the Laramie Tunsil. You know, you went out there, you drafted Josh Connolly. Now you feel like you have two solid bookend tackles. You move Brandon Coleman, a guard who should be better there. A lot of people thought that that's where he should have started his career at. You have Tyler Biotish, and, you know, who knows when Cosme comes back, but you do have depth now at the offensive line. So I feel like going into the Eagles game, we have a gun in the fight on the offensive line now. Like, you can win some of those battles in the trenches. And let's not forget, I mean, yeah, the Eagles are a great constructed roster, but they lost some guys on that defensive line that was crucial to what they did last year. So, you know, they got to replace those guys, but guys that's going to kind of play up to that level. And I mean, I do think they still have good replacements or whatever, but they still got to go out there and prove that they can play at the level of the guys who have left. So I do think Washington has closed a gap on the Eagles. No, they're still behind the Eagles. And as Mual alluded to, it was going to be a couple of off seasons. Like, you know, it's no diluting that. But when you have a Jaden Daniels, and when you make the offense stronger, you give yourself a chance, because you're going to have a chance with Jaden Daniels anyway. The question always with Jaden Daniels is going to be, how hard is the task going to be for Jaden Daniels week in and week out? So you made his life a little bit easier against the Eagles now by investing into the trenches. But defensively, yeah, I mean, I still think you have a ways to go to kind of, you know, catch up to the Eagles, because we know one thing the Eagles are going to do. They're going to run the ball really damn well, and they're going to have a strong offensive line. And we still have question marks with Washington right now, and is how much better has the run defense got? Like, we don't know that yet. Like, we don't know if the run defense is going to be much improved from last year. We hope it's improved. We hope the Javon Kinlaw signings did something. You know, the Eddie Goldmans, you know, even the Dietrich Wises, like, as far as like setting the edge type of guys, like, you hope you got better there, but we don't know if we got better, like, definitively to say that we've closed the gap defensively on the Eagles. But offensively, you've definitely closed that gap to the point where maybe you're only one off season away from that team. But again, when you have a Jaden Daniels playing quarterback, you're still going to have a chance in these games.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dre, you brought up something to where I feel like they shouldn't be a measuring stick, but of course, like, that's just what people are going to do. The Eagles team has lost a lot of players this offseason that played significant role, especially in those matchups, from the Milton Williams to the Josh Sweats to the CJ Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slade. Like, who's playing opposite Quinyon Mitchell at cornerback over there?
That boy from Iowa.
Cooper DeJean is going to be the starting outside corner and not nickel.
That's what I heard. Like,
yeah, I mean, we don't know. So
ended, but
yeah, we don't know. They lost. Like,
I guess that's their reason for getting rid of Slade.
Yeah, I mean,
they put him outside.
They lost a lot of pieces, but they also added some guys that I like in the draft, from Campbell to sleeper Andrew Mabuka, who I think could play that CJ Gardner-Johnson role very well out of Texas. I mean, at the end of the day, it's interesting because Eagles have more core pieces that you could work around. Like, when you look at the Eagles, you think of Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts. You think of the two tackles in Mulata and Lane Johnson, and then Jalen Carter. You feel me? Whereas when you think of Washington, now you're going to think of Jaden Daniels, Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, and that's it. Oh, I mean, you could say Laramie Tunsil now, right? The rest of the guys, you're still waiting to see what they turn out to be. If Marshawn is going to be back to his self that we are familiar with. Is Josh Connolly Jr. going to make the transition to right tackle well? How about, where's Brandon Coleman going to play on this line? You know, who fills in that role while Cosme battles returning back from ACL? Is someone going to step up in that running back room? Like, hard to count on, like Mual said, hard to count on the 7th-round pick. I mean, the Chiefs were able to do that with Isaiah Pacheco several years ago. But, I mean,
he's the only one that's been like that in years. I didn't
guy,
even know that, though. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that's crazy.
Yeah, but, I mean, to sit here, my major concerns for this team still exist. I don't know who can win one-on-one off the edge. I don't know who's another tight end in that room outside of Ertz as far as receiving threat. Like John Bates ain't the answer for that. Ben Sinnott ain't it. Running back room. It's the same guys except for McCursky. However you say his name. We got
Corey Merritt Crosby. Boy, that name, that's a name, boy. I swear to God it is. Hey, let's get into who we think is like, where do they need to replenish or add to the roster? Where do we think they need to go? And AJ, while you was talking, you got the floor. So where do you think they need to go in terms of veteran free agents and things of that nature?
I mean, it just sucks that there's not a lot of receiving tight ends that are out there.
It is JCM. Yeah.
It sucks that there's not a lot of receiving tight ends that are out there, but I would love for them to pick up another guy. I'm not really trying to count on Ben Sinnott. People be haters, cool, whatever the case is. Running back room, you bring back the same class of guys. I mean, we know what Austin Eckler can bring to the team as far as in the receiving game. You know what Jeremy McNichols can bring to the team from like a third down needed guy, special teams. Now at wide receiver, you have Deebo Samuel, but it'd be nice to get another guy that actually is good at running routes. I mean, right now you got a collection of a bunch of bodies: Noah Brown, Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne still on the team. Luke McCaffrey. Yeah, you just got a bunch of dudes. Then when you go and look at the defensive side, you don't have that guy that can win the one-on-ones off the edge. At safety, what do you really have in Will Harris if he is going to be the starter? Don't know. I don't know much about Will Harris. Even
I'm about to say, well, they know. I mean, if we was to watch. I ain't watching. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't watching him in New Orleans yet.
I mean, ain't nothing. Where can you go to watch?
You know what's crazy? I mean, I think last year was his first time like having like significant starting time, if I'm not mistaken. Like I know he's had starts over his career, but in terms of like consecutive, oh damn, it popped up already.
Because he played with Detroit before he went to New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure we could pencil him in as a starter, and I think that's where you get conversations of.
Oh no, he's had 53 starts. He had 2 seasons.
Yeah, so
2 seasons where he started every game.
Who the hell else is gonna start over?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, that's the thing. Like at that safety position, you're talking about Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, and maybe Tyler Owens gets some looks. Don't know, right? So then the other major question is who's playing opposite of Marshawn Lattimore? Of course. We know of the second-round pick and Trey Amos out of Ole Miss, but we don't know if he's prepared to start opposite of Marshawn Lattimore. We don't really know that. Like we're hoping that he can be someone of that ilk, but you don't know definitively. And I think that's where it's just like there's more questions on this team defensively than there is offensively. And yes, offensive has some holes, but because you have that dynamic person back there in control of the offense in Jaden Daniels, you're not as worried. When it comes to defense, who is that guy?
I think. Well, actually, go ahead, Drake. I don't know if you got yours.
No, yeah, I mean, I'll be quick, but I mean, because offensively, I'm just not sure what you can add to the roster that's out there right now that's going to like significantly help this team. Maybe when you get some cuts coming in, because remember last year after preseason, that's when we was able to start Noah Brown, so maybe they'll wait to that point. But I mean, when you talk about the tight end position, because that's the only spot, AJ, because I do agree with you there. I mean, outside of Ertz, who can, if Ertz goes down with an injury, do we feel comfortable with anybody coming into, starting to have to play games? I mean, obviously Ben Sinnott will be thrown into the fire and he would have to put up a shut up or, right here, then and there. But we're not confident that he could come in and play at a high level if he has to right now. But
they got that boy from last year. With that crazy name. Yeah,
yank off. Well, yeah.
Hey, bro.
Again, I don't know what that guy can do. We haven't seen
yank off in this jump, bro.
Ain't Cole Turner still on the roster?
You said who?
Cole Turner.
Still on the roster.
I don't think he.
Yeah, he was on the practice squad.
I remember he was on
all season, but I don't know what I don't know where he at right now. But, superstar. Yeah. He probably got a whole bunch of offers.
I'm sure. CFL is opening a lot of guys.
He out there with he out there with Sammy Reyes.
But no, I mean the biggest thing is the biggest thing is the defense. I mean, and there's guys out there that we know of that can probably come in and help this roster right now. You got the Von Millers. There's a couple of other guys out there that's sitting out there. Zadarius Smith from Detroit. Like, these guys are proven vets that can win on the edge. Like, so that's where I would look at for them to go sign someone before the season that can help this roster right now. I mean, there is issues with the safety depth, but I don't know what's out there safety-wise that can help you. It's funny, yesterday.
Justin Simmons would be nice, but
yeah, I mean that could be nice. But yesterday, Linnell, I was listening to 980 yesterday, and Linnell actually shouted us out because I had tweeted at him while the show was going. But he was, and he was mentioning who is the Commanders veteran with the most approved. And I was listening to a lot of the responses, and I wanted to come up with something a little different, so I threw out there Quan Martin. Quan Martin from the safety spot, free safety. I don't think Quan Martin was bad at all last year, but has Quan Martin played at a level that's above replaceable right now to this point? And I don't think so. That's just my whole point. Like, some people were like, oh, you're off. Quan Martin isn't the problem. I'm not saying Quan Martin is a problem, but my question is Quan Martin, more than replaceable at this point in his career? And I think that this year can prove that. Because the first year, obviously, is his rookie year. He hasn't played much games. I mean, he didn't get a lot of starting time his first year, and he's also playing on a bad team coached by Ron Rivera. Second year, first full year as a starter, Quan Martin was okay. I mean, that's the best thing I could say about Quan Martin last year. He was okay. But did he play at a better than replaceable level? And I can't say that, but this year he has something to prove in that regard. Like, if I want him to be around and have some staying power at the free safety spot, I want to see a little bit more from Quan Martin this year. So that's, going into the safety question. And, as far as like, what do we have at that position group as a whole? And no one really kind of stands out as a bona fide guy in that group to me.
With Quan Martin thing, I think I probably texted Mual about it earlier because he was responding to something online. Dog, he about to return coming off of surgery on both shoulders. Can you truly count on that during the season? Because you gonna have.
He just showed you could. Huh? He just showed you that we could trust him.
Man, that's scary. When they said the double shoulder surgery and he has to come down in the box and tackle, that got me a little concerned at that safety position, because if one guy goes missing from that bunch, I mean, do you want to see Jeremy Reeves playing defensive snaps? Because I mean, that the safety position right now is Will Harris, Tyler Owens, Jeremy Reeves, Percy Butler, Quan Martin,
and Tyler Owens.
Yeah, and Tyler Owens. That is not good.
It's not. I mean, it's definitely a top heavy position group, but I mean, I think that's part of like just the whole roster building thing to begin with. Like it ain't much you could do in an offseason. I mean, it's a lot you can do, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you can't like be perfect at every position. To the point where like you're super comfortable. There's gonna be some Jones you're gonna be like, all right, bro, like we need to make sure that y'all good for this whole season because we need y'all. And like that's how a lot of rosters are really constructed. There's some positions that's just super thin. And I think for Washington, like people have thrown out Nick Chubb on who was it? Radio. Somebody mentioned J.K. Dobbins. I'm like, bro, like what? It's not going to move the needle for me. I'm not a Nick Chubb guy at this point of his career after all the injuries. And like I don't say that to about certain people anymore because like I didn't learn like people just use it as a throwaway. So I know it can kind of be deceiving, but like when I say injuries, like I was like I don't even like how he looked last year. Granted that offense in Cleveland was just different, but I just didn't like how he looked last year when I saw him. So I just attribute that to injury. Wide receivers, I don't think there's a couple pieces out there that you can look at. Keenan Allen's still out there, Amari Cooper still out there. If you want to go veteran route, but I mean, I don't see them doing that either because that's going to take away from Debo, and that's going to take away from Jalen. Obviously, we already know where Terry stands. He's gonna get his, but like, I'm sure Cliff got a plan for Jalen, and that's important. Noah Brown's gonna be the utility guy, like he was last year, playing every single position at the wide receiver spot. So like that's no question. So like, why do I think that there's like I think Cliff is very much comfortable with these group of guys offensively. Tight end, I don't even know who out there in tight end. So what's the point? Edge rusher. I heard the name Von Miller. I've heard the dude from Detroit. What was his name?
Zadarius Smith. Who's dating Cash Doll, by the way?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Fine motherfucker.
I'm jealous, bro. Yeah. What Cash Doll doing, bro? I need to go ahead and shoot her a message on Instagram.
I love me some Cash Doll, bro.
Yeah. I got more money than Zadarius, bro. Come here.
I don't.
Well, I'm about to be photoshopping and everything or AI. I'm about to AI everything, bro. Put me on a Maybach. Put me on a yacht. So yeah, Zadarius. Matter of fact, sign Zadarius, man. Yeah. I want to see who we bring to the training camp.
We plotting, baby.
Sign Zadarius, bro.
Sign Von Miller. If y'all knew who his baby mama was and the tricks that she can do, yeah, y'all wouldn't.
Okay, well, I want to find out. I would like to find out.
Just search up Von Miller Megan.
Wait, didn't Von get into it with one of his? Was this the girl that he got into it with?
It's the same chick.
Ooh. A little toxic, huh?
Yeah, Von need to leave. Did
you ever make it to Floyd's strip club? That time you was in Vegas, Mo?
Yes, we did. We took a picture. Well, I took a picture for them for the game.
That was what 2 years ago?
Yeah, 23.
Nah, you probably ain't see her then. I think she had just got out that joint.
Okay, it was December, so she made if she got out, she probably definitely got out before December.
Yeah.
And I got out 20 minutes after I got in, bro. They talking about $28 for a Henny and Coke, nigga. Please. Staying in there.
The question would have been how much was the lap dances? But look, we got you way off. We didn't take way off the train track.
How you just say that and then try to pivot? What?
I'm just saying. Hey, we can talk about that offline because I would like to know that. That's an important question.
Oh no, he did. I didn't even realize he was asking how much.
Get the drinks. I want to know how much the dances cost, man.
Hey, bro. Nah, the dances will get me. I said the dances. The drinks will get me throwing the money, bro. I gotta make sure the drink's straight. But nah, I really like Zadarius and Von is probably the only two that the names that's been popping out. And honestly, like Von, I don't see at this point in his career, like he was getting benched in Buffalo. I don't see a point where Washington would need him or could use him. Zadarius, I don't have too much to say about him either. Like he's a veteran that you can use as depth, and I didn't even realize he had 9 sacks last year. So maybe he still got some juice. I don't know. And maybe you could use him. That's a name that's been floated out a lot too. So maybe Zadarius on the real tip, like all Cash Doll aside. Maybe him. But like when I think about certain positions, I really think about the ones we just talked about. Edge,
Zadarius ain't
receiver.
He ain't even winning his one-on-ones like he used to, bro. Like Von still showed some semblance of that in the situational standpoint in Buffalo last year. He had 6-7 sacks as a situational pass rusher.
Well, what does Zadarius got 9?
He had like 9.5.
Yeah, he also had Myles Garrett on the other side for majority of the season.
Well, he had a pretty good year in Detroit without Aiden Hutchinson.
He had a good year, bro. What's up,
Man,
bro? Matter of fact, yeah,
know.
he got traded. He got traded in the season before. So he had like 8, 9, 10 games with Detroit, bro. Matter of fact, let's take a look.
Mind you, that was without Aiden Hutchinson, who was hurt for the majority of the year.
I don't know what he did in Detroit. I don't think he did much, or his ass would be back there.
I mean, nah, I don't know about that, bro. I mean, who did they? Za'Darius had 4 sacks with Detroit, and a total of 9 sacks. So he had 4 sacks in 8 games with Detroit. That's not bad. And then 5 sacks with Cleveland in 9 games. So he racked up 9 seasons. 9 sacks, excuse me. Either way, like that's kind of where I'm at. That's it for me. Like I don't. It's Za'Darius. I don't really see them going in for help. On offensively at any position. I'm actually still like a little confused with the Josh Johnson joke. Like that boy needed like he in NFL age, like the boy is on a walker. Like he's old,
like 39, 40. Yeah, because he was with us in 2018, wasn't he?
Yes, I'm super confused by that one. I mean, I know camp bodies is cool and all, but like you ain't gonna keep Josh Johnson over it. You ain't gonna do that.
I think they're gonna keep him, bro. I think he's gonna be an emergency.
I mean, we talking about QB3
on the practice squad. Probably.
Yeah, he's gonna be an emergency.
Unless Sam Hartman shows something this offseason.
that boy just around just to make people in the locker room laugh.
Selling dreams, bro.
Yeah. I'm just saying, maybe Sam Hartman shows something. I don't know. Maybe he's QB3.
But I mean, I'm with Mual. I think there's only, as far as defensive side, there's 3 players that could make a difference if one of them is signed or made a move on. I think Jalen Ramsey gets released. I don't think he gets traded. That's
been going on for a little minute, huh?
Yeah, because I mean, if he gets released, Miami is still owe him that money, and he could just sign for a vet minimum with another organization. But Za'Darius Smith and Von Miller are and Jalen, like I said, as far as defensively, are the 3 that could make a actual impact on this team, not just from paper, but from what they could actually produce on the field. But yeah, I mean, that's the interesting part, man. You just never know how things are going to play out. Like Dre mentioned, you don't know who's going to get released from teams. You don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's why we sit back, enjoy the summer. We got mini camp coming up this week. Let's see how Josh Connolly looks in that mini camp. Along with the other guys, and just see if I think that we believe that there's going to be a move made for one of those guys that we mentioned, because John Keim has mentioned something about Za'Darius Smith. A lot of people believe that it is Za'Darius Smith. I think you just waiting to see how everything plays out. Sometimes some of these veterans want to not participate in OTAs and mini camps, and especially, we're going to mention her again, Casdall. If Casdall's your new girlfriend, why rush to get into an organization when you could be shooting up the club? You feel me? Hey, you just never know.
She's in a really bad Tubi movie where it's a really great scene with her. I'm just going to say that. I forget which one. It's one of them Detroit ones before she became big. She's cooking in the kitchen. It's kind of like a Ving Rhames thing, but the opposite.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hey, man, when you date girls that live in like Temple Hills and places like that, you're gonna watch Tubi.
You're gonna have to find something to do.
All right, side question. At the age that we're in now, would you date a woman that lives in a community where you got to walk up the stairs?
I mean, hey, look, it's all I know.
Like the apartment, not like
as long as it ain't in Southeast. Like if it's an Anacostia, no.
If they live in a court, a circle, a gardens.
Hey, if it's in Anacostia, DC, no. Serve some quarters, no.
All right, I had to go about 2 flights of stairs within the past year. I'm not, I'm not as old as y'all, but you know what I'm saying. had to make the walk or the jog. You know,
I mean, I've lived in these places, so I mean, it's nothing to me. But at some point, you got to say some areas. I'll just, we'll have to meet up somewhere else.
Temple Hills. I'm like, oh no, what's my boy Dre doing?
That's my limit. That's the boundary right there. It's the boundary.
That man said that's the cutoff point right there. That's his region.
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, this was moderate. Okay, I can do this one.
Oh no.
Hey man, that's hilarious. Well, I mean, all right. So let me ask you. Can you just tell? Can you fill us in? Like, what is it a knee thing or is it like a body physical?
I just
AJ bougie. That's all it is.
I think that in this area, a lot of communities that they got the stairs and stuff like that, Villa, Court, Gardens, ain't necessarily the safest community, bro.
Mm. Well,
like, just sit back and put it in perspective. Wherever you grew up at, think about a place that might have been called Gardens or Court.
And I got you. Stairs. I mean, y'all got y'all CCW, bro.
What is that?
Still carry?
Yeah. Oh no, I don't have
I've
one.
been working on it. I'm working on mine.
You strapped, so
I know where I got it. You know what I'm saying? I can't take it in the city.
I go to the range, but yeah, I'm still working on the CCW though.
Yeah, bro. But no, on the real shit, like I get what you're saying, but if it's worth it, I'm gonna still go.
Hey, sometimes it's worth it, bro. Temple Hills was worth it. I'll tell you that right now. It was worth it, bro.
I don't even like going over women's cribs, dog, because it's like I don't know the guy.
Oh, you're not the road trip dude.
I don't know
you like the home.
I don't know the guys that you dated in your past. Like, dudes is crazy out here, bro. Like, they got the air tags. They be sitting outside.
You gotta vet that beforehand. Like, you gotta ask that. That's a question you have to ask.
Tell you, he's cool. And then as you get to know him,
he's cool.
Oh, my ex is doing weird stuff. He's like,
that's when it's...
he's trying to get my attention on Cash App, like sending requests and leaving messages in the memos. You like, what?
Man, that's real specific.
Yeah, because
that's real specific.
You're like, oh nah, bro, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that's a red flag.
But Temple Hills,
it was worth it. It was worth it.
Temple Hills, yeah.
I want to go back, but I burned the bridge. I want to go back, but I burned the bridge, bro.
That's all Dre do, bro. Every time I follow up about somebody, he said, "Yeah, man, I don't fuck with her no more."
Yeah, it happens, man. You just go
I'm
to
like,
the next
bro,
one.
what happened, bro? I'll never forget the when we went out with old boy on the
DC,
rooftop
uptown,
yeah, on the rooftop, bro. I was like she cool, bro.
I know. Cool. I still think about that one too. Next time he gave me the rundown, told me what she doing. I'm like, oh, like okay, yeah, Dre, that's what's up. And then next time I asked about it, he said, "Yeah, man, I don't fuck with her no more." And I ain't gonna say this on the air, but you never believe the reason why he said. I know, and you know what? I feel really stupid about it now.
Go ahead.
I'm say it on air. No, I'm never saying it on air. No, but yeah, I feel really dumb about that though.
She got epilepsy.
No. She was good. She was good. Really good.
Yo, one of my men stopped dating a chick because she told him that she has epilepsy.
I mean, he ain't want to deal with one of them
Bruh,
nights.
She
one
ain't
of them
never
days.
Seizure around him, nothing. Just because she told him, hey, sometimes things can trigger and I might have a seizure. That nigga never talked to her again. She thought it was a safe thing.
He didn't want to save her life. That's all that was.
That's not anyone that responsibility. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, well, it's not crazy, but he was just like, yeah, I'm gone.
You can tell this is the real off season because this is the only time we get to really have these type of conversations on air.
Yeah. It ain't even Trapper Dive late night, bro. We just chopping it up. All right, but look. So I'm glad I still got this up. So Browns, Chargers, Commanders, Saints, Steelers. This actually came out 6 years. It came out today. Those teams that I just named are all going to unveil their new alternate helmets in July. So the Commanders, according to the article, have worn black alternate helmets alongside their black alternate uniforms. But we expect this is whose website is this? So I give them the credit. Sportslogos.net from Andrew Lind. He said, but we expect that they'll adjust the decals to match their standard burgundy helmets rather than add a new gold helmet or any other color shell. So new helmets coming around. It's interesting. I actually thought they was coming out with new uniforms too.
I thought so too.
Yeah,
I guess that's because remember what Josh Harris he said?
So Nike is doing something where it's divisions per year. So I think Washington is either 2027 or 2026. Like the NFC East is either like 2026 or 2027.
Okay. All right. And then last thing. So the schedule comes out on Wednesday. Let's do our logistics now. Do we want to do a show Tuesday still?
Next Wednesday?
Yeah, that's what. Is it next Wednesday the 14th? Yeah, next Wednesday. So
do we want
to
live? Well, no, I'm gonna say Wednesday's bad for me. That's one of the bad days for me. But yeah, it would have been nice to do that. Thursday's fine.
What Thursday looking like for you, AJ?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so we can come back after the schedule release, have some live stuff to talk about. All right, cool. We'll be back next Thursday. All 32 is up tomorrow. Oh Lord, what's his name? Josh Connolly. Oh my God, Josh Connolly film session will be out tomorrow as well on the YouTube. So look out for that. I'll have it on Hawks Haven website as well.
Harassed them all based on his little tweet that he posted.
Yeah, that one. I ain't gonna, bro. Like, it was crazy when I watched them because I really did. Like, my questions exist. Like, I don't think I ever like my questions with him. It was kind of like two main questions, but I just don't know the turnaround time in terms of his development. Like, what it's going, like, how long it's going to take for him to like build his strength, play stronger, play more physical, and like actually like grow into his frame and play to his size. I don't know when that's going to be for him. Because if I can see him struggling as a rookie, which is okay, but like, are you going to get better as the season goes along, or are we going to have to like deal with some problems throughout the season?
See, that's
not to scare people from the film session. I want to make sure that's clear. Not to scare people from the film session. There is a lot of good that I showed, but it's just the questions that I have about him. Those are louder in my head than the stuff that he does good. But so see, I may be dead wrong, but those questions are just loud.
But see, Mual, I think that's the beauty in the film breakdowns that you do. Hopefully, Trap or Die fans that is tuning in, they go check it out tomorrow morning. And I'm pretty sure those that aren't listening to the show at this time but should be going to see it as well. I think when you come off last year's draft in the third round, they took Brandon Coleman?
Yeah, third round.
When you take a left tackle third round and you sell that he's the future at the position essentially at left tackle, and you already have to scrap plans, and then you go and pick this guy to be your right tackle, it's kind of like, do you even know what you're looking at?
But
like at that position, because it's like, that's not to say that Connolly Jr. can't turn out and be a beast, but there's definitely some questions there, bro. Like there's definitely some concerns.
Did you hear what Adam Peters said about like how Cliff ended up liking Josh Connolly?
Yeah, I heard that.
He said
that was weird.
He said he was watching Oregon to pick up on plays and just notice him. So that means you didn't even necessarily have your eye.
But that's Cliff's. That was him just explaining how Cliff liked them, not necessarily how they came to the decision to pick Connolly. Like, he didn't say anything like, "Oh, that's why we picked Connolly." He would just explain.
You know what? You're right. That's fair.
Pat McAfee had posed the question to say, "Oh, we saw the whole little note that Cliff Kingsbury left, and he gave the background on why Cliff liked Connolly." He didn't say that's why we chose him. But to the point of Brandon Coleman being selected in the third round, I mean, Brandon Coleman, I think, was more of a, this could be a lottery ticket situation at the tackle spot, because we think he has some tackle traits. And if he works out there, perfect. You just solved a big important position in the third round. But the worst case scenario with Brandon Coleman is you could put him at guard because he's played guard, and I think most people project him as a guard. So that's why I don't really feel too bad about that, because at the end of the day, you still have a starter in Brandon Coleman. Like, I don't think there's a doubt in anyone's mind that Brandon Coleman will be a starter this year, and I think he's going to be a good contributor.
So if
it's not going to be a failed pick.
If Connolly Jr. don't work out at right tackle, then where you play him?
Then that's probably a failed pick. Then that's probably what you just call it. I mean, and that happens. I mean, sometimes it's a failed
play. Yeah, Tunsil going to play. So
yeah, but to Maul's point, I wanted to ask him, do you kind of feel about Connerly that High Speed feels about him? Because High Speed doesn't seem to be a fan of him at all. He thinks that it was kind of a mistake going with the 4 or 6 rated OL, whatever, however you want to call it.
You said High Speed.
Yeah, High Speed.
Yeah.
I just saw him in the chat saying he wasn't a fan of the pick.
Oh, okay, I see. I'm over here looking. I'm catching up on the helmet stuff. Forgot High Speed was in the chat. What's up, High Speed? See, I don't mind playing over there. Investing lead talent, kind of am tinkering. All right, that's it for us. Questions that needs answers.
Maul said, "Watch the film session tomorrow morning."
Yeah,
yeah. Film session out. Film session is gonna be out tomorrow. We got to get ready and get up out of here. All 32 is about to get our show on the road. But yeah, until next time, again, we'll be back Thursday. All 32 tomorrow. Film session out tomorrow as well.
Yes,
peace.
Chop it down. Chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Chop it down. You gon' chop it down. Damn, set. Watch him throw the ball. We gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.